Man, that's stupid. Okay. Man guy, first. Why are you first? How did you do that? And furthermore, how do I flip this so that it looks normal to me? All right. Okay. All right. I'm here to answer and illustrate your questions. I could draw that invisible cube for you. Ooh, you can see through it. Someone said, show us what you know. You gotta be, gotta ask a little more clearly. I know a lot of things. I know how to make noodles from scratch. I know what several different kinds of cats there are. What's up? How do you become the hoe? Well, you just have to be born female and a 3 or better, and then lower your standards. Can I draw Godzilla? I mean, I can. Is that how you ask? Just want to start with the nostrils, like that. And you draw kind of like the beak, and you gotta have the big long alligator mouth with the extra skin. Teeth, Godzilla teeth. I won't spend too much time. Rounded nose, like dragon nose, yeah. Tiny eyes. So here's the thing about Godzilla. When they draw Godzilla, like he's as tall as buildings, but they still have his eyes are. Here's the thing on a mouse, right? The eyes are pretty big. There's the ears, and the eyes are pretty big compared to the rest of the mouse, right? But on an elephant, the eyes are small compared to the rest of the being. And that happens like the larger that it gets, like if there was a being many times the size of the elephant, if we had like a super elephant, right? The eye would just be tiny. If this was a normal elephant here, it doesn't increase with proportion. So that's one of the reasons that when you see a Godzilla movie, it just doesn't look very realistic. There couldn't be a creature to these specifications. Its eyeball would be like a swimming pool and it wouldn't work. They would just be sloshing around. Um, People just don't do their research before they write these movies, and that's why they're boring. I haven't watched a movie in a long time. But yeah, I think I'm gonna draw Godzilla smoking a cigar, like one of those fat ones. It's not even like cylindrical, it's like fat and it's got a label on it, just like a stogie. And put a nice fitted suit on him. Buttons. Carnation. So someone asked me to draw Godzilla. If you're here and you're wondering what's happening. Oh good, I've gotten a paid one. Cole Lecky, hello, I remember you. Do you think that the degradation of unions and the death of career-style employment has reduced the availability of long-term male social connections? Sure, yeah. People used to be connected because they had to be. This is something that still happens in small towns. I have a friend who lived near me in the city I used to live in, and she, COVID was difficult for her too, and she moved back home to the town she was from, and it's a small town, and so everyone knows each other. And we talk on the phone, and she remarks to me about how uh, you're friends with people because they're there. You date a guy because he lives across the street. In If you live in a city or even in suburbs near a city, you get used to this idea that people are plentiful. And so I think your question is striking at that principle that the world has changed so much that we no longer have, like, you used to be a soldier and you would know the other soldiers. You used to be a worker at a factory and you knew the other factory workers. They were your friends, they were who you knew. And it wasn't like we were trying to piece together our lives, to put puzzle pieces together, like, "Who's my very favorite type of person? No, I don't like you. I like you. I don't like you." It used to be just, "These are the people who are in front of me, and I'm going to figure out a way to like them because I have to." It's either that or, um, stare at the wall by myself. So, I don't know much about unions, to be honest with you. I From what I understand about them, I think that there's probably some good and some bad qualities. I wouldn't be able to make much of an argument. But when you say the degradation of unions and the death of career style employment, that is a weird one. The death of career style employment for sure is having effects on society that boomers don't understand yet. If you talk to boomers about getting a job or about getting married or anything like that, they're just permanently stuck in this, like, shake the manager's hand. Um, they don't get it that employment has really just fundamentally changed. There isn't any more being a part of an institution as a career. Like my grandfather, I'm pretty sure he had one job. He fought in World War II, and then he came back and he got his job, and then he had his job until he didn't have a job anymore, and he was retired, and then he got to rest, which none of us will get to do. Um, I think that I just saw something about how the retirement age is 70 now and people are only living until 73, something like that. Just give this mouse teeth and I'll be done with him. But for sure, that's an insightful question. The death of career style employment. Um, yeah, I think it has was your reduce the availability of long-term male social connections. Yes. Because now we have to choose to be friends with someone. And who's going to do that? Where am I going to find a man that's gonna make me go, "Yeah, we should hang out, like, on purpose all the time for no reason." It's not like we have to, it's not like we work together, we don't have any particular goals in common. It's not like your wife knows my wife. It's just like, "I think you're a cool guy." We're not gonna do that. So, yeah, the lack of long-term male-to-male social connections is a uh, big weird problem. Okay, Nathan Anderson, with the upcoming pole shift, should I find a wife or find theosis? Well, I wish that I knew what theosis was. I guess I could Google it. Theosis. Theosis or deification is a transformative process whose aim is likeness to or union with God taught by the Eastern Catholic churches and the Eastern Orthodox Church. Um, the same concept is also found in the Latin Church, the Catholic Church, where it's called divinization. That's a fun one. Divinization. Divinization. Um, your question was, should you find a wife or find theosis, Nathan? And I think um, there isn't really any reason that you have to choose. Although I do understand that we have limited energy and you cannot become one with God um, on an accelerated path. You will need to spend the appropriate amount of energy, and also finding a wife takes an appropriate amount of energy. The question that you're asking is whether you should invest your limited life energy in something that is eternal or something that is ephemeral. Um, because whether you pass your genes down or not, everything dies, or at least it seems like it would. Maybe things don't go extinct. Maybe we have extinction all wrong. Maybe the greatest meaning in existence is to just pass down your genes and survive. It seems like our bodies are built that way. But personally, if I had a choice, I would go with the God thing. If I was in some situation where some deity sat me down and said, "Look, you can either have a girl or you can be united in oneness with all creation in such a way that suffering is a distant memory," I would go like, there'll be girls in the next life or something. Scott Shamblin. It's a great name. Shamblin, because it's like a method of movement. Shambling, just shambling down the street. True, false. I'm a 10 means I'm in a hoe cartel like OPEC. Cartel hoes demand high value and deliver little in order to maximize global hoe profit. I'm a 6.7 means I will undercut cartel prices. I think that you're not directionally wrong. I think that they are kind of saying when they do say I'm a 10, I think they are kind of saying I am I'm in a club, and so you're going to have to treat me a certain way, because if you don't, I will just call on the powers of my associates, right? I think there's something to that. Where is my where are all my papers? There it is. So there's my it's of course it's always them saying it because they can't be the actual tens cannot be tens. Um, but saying I'm a 6.7 is not necessarily undercutting the prices. Some women actually just want to be, honest and say what's true. And those are the ones worth talking to. But I don't know Billy Ray. And maybe she was just trying to undercut the prices. I don't know. So it's not, I can't really give you a true or a false on that one. But I can say that you definitely have the principles correct. You get the principles behind the situation. Okay, let's go to these chats. It's a little slow today. I got a new computer. It's coming tomorrow. Okay. Martin Greer, you've mentioned thinking about civilizational cycles recently. Yeah, sure have. I recommend Prophets of Doom by Nima Parvini. Okay, thank you. Prophets of Doom. Thank you, sir. Hello, the Stin. Do you have any thoughts or comments on having chemistry with someone? What exactly does that mean? So, chemistry, when you have chemistry with someone, the way that people talk about it, you'd think that it was like magic. All it really is when two people have feelings for each other. So you'll notice that sometimes one person has feelings for another, but not the other way around. You don't call that having chemistry. That's just a crush, right? Or it's creepy or something. Or it's a situationship, right? Or it's attachment or it's infatuation. When it goes one way, like those are the feelings. And nobody says that's chemistry. When it goes both ways, then it's chemistry. I think that that is just the way that we have chosen to spiritualize something that's a really basic biological process. If I like you and you don't like me, I'm a creep. If you like me and I don't like you, then it's a situationship. If we like each other, then it's chemistry. And it's like something crazy is in the air. Well, no, you just like each other. Like, haven't you liked some people more and less? Well, if two of you like each other a lot, then it's astrology suddenly. Um, People will do anything to avoid admitting that their lives are mundane. It's ridiculous, but they are. Their lives are mundane. We all are. I was talking to somebody recently uh, uh, about the video I made with the cycles and the woman singing about, oh, I want fire and passion, and that ain't enough. If it's safe, tame, and practical, that ain't enough. That ain't love. I guess you guys didn't hear it, but this woman heard what I said in my video, and she said to me, I guess I'm not that different from most women. I thought I was all different, but I guess all the women are having these feelings like, I just want to be free and I don't want safe. I want to have experiences. Um, these are really common things that a lot of people feel, but we don't like to admit that. We want to be unique and individual. Um, Youngster Scamo, I can't see your whole name. If meaning is progressing, then progress towards what? Well, meaning isn't progressing. It's not really. Um, Not as a whole thing. Meaning progresses for individuals and for systems, but not universally. So, is there room, say, for gaming when you know doesn't progress to something? Don't want to eliminate joy from life, but play it. I'm guilty. Lose lose. So, this is something that I'm going to go over in self maximize, which God, it's just the bane of my existence. I can't wait to get this thing done. What I'm going to go over is that you need to fill your life with things that are that feel good and are good for you. And if you're doing something that's good for you, but it doesn't feel good, you might have to do that. If you're doing something that feels good, but it's not good for you, you probably should get rid of that. You only have so much time. And whatever you spend your time on should be improving your life. And I used to play video games. I remember what it's like. Um, it sucks your whole life away. You get home from work and you play video games until 1 in the morning, and then you wake up and you're tired for work the next day, and all you can think about is getting back and playing the game. And I gotta go play the team games, and I gotta go beat the level and get the trophy and get to the next world, and then years go by and you're not good at anything. And people say, "Oh, but it feels good and it relaxes me." You know what else relaxes you? Like exercise and meditation and becoming a better person, things that make you become a better person. So when you say, where was it? If meaning is progressing, is there room for gaming? If you want to live a life where you're trading your hours and your time for just comfortable feelings that don't turn into more skills and more power for you and self improvement, it's your choice, but I wouldn't do it, and I don't recommend it to anyone. I don't recommend that anybody spends their time on things that don't make you better. There are so many things to do that are as fun as games, and they make you better. Why would you choose something that doesn't? It's my opinion. Kem Regic. Hey man, thank you for making me feel less crazy. You got it, boss. Advice on how to best enter relationships while carrying trauma. Oh yeah, just be honest about it. What do you say that should the bar be higher than normal? I don't know what you mean by the bar, but if you're entering a relationship with trauma, that's just called a relationship. Everyone's got trauma. Um, you've got to be honest about it and tell your partner what your trauma is and how it works. Don't be hiding things like that. Um, and know what your trauma is and how you react to it. And that's really all that can be expected of you. Like we're all gonna react to our partner. I'll just use this one. We're all gonna react to our partner in a way that is designed for someone else. Just put a dotted line woman over here. This old woman from the past, the question mark. The former relationship with her is gonna create patterns in you that you're just gonna act out on the next person. That's gonna happen for everyone all the time. Being aware of where they came from, like, this is why metacognition is important, is why knowing yourself is important. Read that inner workbook, do the shadow workbook, meditate, do all that stuff. Knowing what you learned from your last relationship so that you can see yourself doing it to your next one is the only way to handle that. And you have to be with someone who understands also that everyone's a work in progress. But I don't know what you mean by should the bar be higher than normal? The bar for what? Monkey G, how could psychedelics affect the developmental levels chart you made? Okay, great question. It's complicated. I believe they have obvious and dramatic increases on one's spiral dynamics. They can. But you got to be really careful because psychedelics, what they do is you have to imagine your brain as a book, all right? Imagine your mind as a book, and every page has words and paragraphs and everything. And some of us, our books are written in ways that are, not really helpful, difficult to read or whatever. And what psychedelics do is they kind of lift the words up off the page and they float around and then they go back down, maybe in a different order, and they might end up in different places. So you could end up with paragraphs that just don't make any sense if you don't do it right. Or you could start with paragraphs that don't make any sense and then float it all up and around and go, oh, 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 oh. These are realizations that I would never have had if I didn't do this. And then they come back down in the correct way. This is not guaranteed to happen, though. It's not guaranteed that you're going to have a good experience. And what it really depends on is your intention going in. So before you start, um, what kind of a person are you? What do you want to get out of this? How are you feeling today? What has your week been like? What's on your mind? What's in your subconscious? You got to know all that stuff because it's going to affect what happens to you. Um, I think that people who are intelligent and intrepid explorers of their own minds generally have less to fear. But for the average person, I would not recommend touching them at all. It's not, it just isn't that simple as take the substance and you will become a wizard. Some people have bad results. Some people undo years of work. Some people are, they get trauma from them. Some people say that they open up gateways to spirits and everything, if you believe in that. So let's see. Um, Slow dub. Hello. Hi Knox. Okay. Can you say well, I'm not sure. Can you say favorite Discord I for $10 you want me to prostitute myself out like that? I guess I'll say it for $10, but I'm not gonna say it with my heart in it. Slick is 100% my best and favorite Discord mod. Sincerely, the fattest at and then a eggplant emoji around and then what looks like a heart. What is that? Heart on fire, burning heart. Okay, that better have been enough. It's like a fire heart. I don't really. I don't like everything about technology and the internet. We got fire heart emojis. It's weird. Okay, Gangsta Elegant says, should I be listening to boomers? You should be listening to everyone, just don't obey them. Listen to what everyone says and then remember who they are and why they're saying it. That's way better than just like trusting someone because they're saying it. Listen to boomers and remember who they are. They know some things that you need to hear. Are Gen Z right about the black pill? Is society collapsing? Society is collapsing. Yeah, I promise society is collapsing. I absolutely promise you. Um, Society functioning depends on the people that make up society and the relationships between them. And people are lower quality than they used to be, and the relationships are lower quality than they used to be. And the government is absolutely corrupt. And they quadrupled the money supply a few years ago, and no one can afford an apartment anymore. It's like, hang on to your whatever. Like, hang on, man. That's it's crazy things happened recently, and people are just pretending everything's fine. Yeah, society's collapsing for sure. Color this in to make it balanced. She's purple pink. No, I don't think it's fear mongering to say that. Let's see. Doubt Shadow. Middle age went from married for 15 years to remarried pretty fast. Love the content. You're welcome. Riveting. This dating market seems appalling. Glad I missed it. Yeah, it's terrible. Good to hear you're doing okay. John Brill, you're cranking out a lot of content. Have a lot on your plate. Don't sweat not having self maximized done yet. I'm gonna sweat it. I'm gonna move a lot faster on it. Mike Johnstone, you've mentioned how cultures would benefit by understanding the ways they butt heads. Could you give examples? You've mentioned how cultures would benefit by understanding the ways they butt heads. Can you give examples? I'm not sure what you're referencing. It sounds like what you're saying is if there's a larger society and then two cultures within it, and they have kind of some friction sometimes. Just put an X there. It sounds like you've mentioned how cultures would benefit by understanding the ways they butt heads. I mean, it just sounds like you're talking about metacognition. It sounds like what you're saying is that understanding yourself and the reasons that you have problems with other people would benefit them. And yeah, that's always true. I'm sorry if I didn't understand your question correctly. It's kind of vague. Mr. Man Dude says, "Can you elaborate on bad trips? What are they the result of?" Bad trips, if you're talking still about the psychedelics, bad trips are the result of bad intentions. So if you, I'll just draw a brain around this guy. So it'll be the intentions man. Okay. Um, if you are in a bad mood, or if you're a bad kind of person, if you're someone who's really if you're like a bully, if you're someone who's selfish and stubborn, and you're someone who thinks you're always right, and you're someone who, um, if you're one of those guys who, like you hit your wife when she burns dinner or something like that, and you get on a drug that powerfully changes the way your mind works, you're just going to have a bad time because people like that don't want to let go. The people who have good experiences on mind-altering substances are the ones who are ready to let go of what they are and what they believe. They're ready for the words to come up off the page. If you do something like that and the words come floating up off the page and you don't want them to and you're like, "No, I'm right. I'm always correct." You're gonna have a bad time. Um, I don't believe that is really necessarily dependent on the substance or the qualities thereof. I think it's mostly your mind and how it works. TDDS says you have soft hands. You don't know that. You're just looking at them. I suppose they're kind of. Um, what's your secret? I don't know. I don't know why I would have soft hands. I do tough guy things with them. Here's 200 pounds. I should be able to do more than that. This is 200 pounds. My right hand's better. Yeah. Um, I don't know, man. I'm just very sexually attractive. Um, don't worry about it. Should I start doodling out my interpretation of my unclear social interactions as an exercise to practice higher level thinking? Yes, you should. That's a very good intuitive question. Yeah. Draw them out the way that I do and put what's in your mind and put what this person was thinking and what their perspective was and get it all visualized. That's how I do this. Like when I made zones the first time, I was using this lined paper and I was just drawing the faces and drawing the friend zone and drawing the 10 to 1 and I remembered from box theory and I was trying to put the friend area in but I couldn't and I came up with like with all this stuff and all these lines and circles and everything and I went okay that I'm going to look at that and then I'm going to do another iteration of it. And I must have done 17 of them where I kept going to the next one, going to the next one until I finally felt like, okay, I've captured everything that I knew was in the back of my brain. I captured everything that I was meaning to tell people. So for sure, yeah, draw them out and do the iterations over and over. That's a very good habit. It's very intuitive. Hayland, how would you describe your political economic thought? You say you've been accused of being a Nazi. Well, who hasn't? Can get accused of being a Nazi for ordering the wrong kind of coffee. Um, most of it was like half joking, by the way. One girl who called me a Nazi continued to sleep with me for months, so she couldn't have been that upset. What ideologies would you say most closely resemble your thought? Also, draw peace from wizards? I don't know who that is. Is that a character? Peace from wizards? Um, my political thought, I wouldn't put a like a label on it, but I would say that it would go more towards libertarian if we lived in a different world. I think that okay, let me put it this way. The founding fathers of the United States created a system that only works if educated people are the only ones participating in it. The founding fathers knew the difference between an educated man and an uneducated man, and they said only um, educated men can make this system work. And now we just let literally anyone. You got a pulse, you vote. Are you alive? Well, then you are a part of democracy, and it doesn't work like that. So I am I'm a fan of the kinds of systems that include what people want for themselves, but doesn't give them control over how to get it. That's just dumb because they don't know what they're doing. Uh, you need to have a method of measuring what the people want, what makes them satisfied and happy, and what their problems are. But then you can't then ask them for their expertise on how to get it. The very idea that most people think they know who should be president is embarrassing. People should not be saying, "I know who should be the president." Why would you know? Why do you think you know anything? It's just embarrassing. Um, I would really much rather have a monarchy than our system. I would much rather have like a benevolent dictator than the system that we have. We have a fake democracy, which was never designed to be a democracy. It was designed to be a republic. And there is actually no power in the hands of the people at all. It's actually a corporate oligarchy. Um, and I mean, to answer your question directly, what would mine be? How would you describe your political economic thought? Painful, all right? It's like just a tea bag of pain steeping for months on the stove. Um, Frog level 20 says, going into college for psych, how do I conservative live in that kind of environment socially? And can I still get value out of my education? I don't know. It's been 20 years since I was in college. I don't know what you're going to do. And when I was in college, I was very lefty. So I was pretty comfortable with the whole thing. I don't know what you're going to do uh, being conservative in psychology. And I'm not sure what value you're going to get either. I haven't been in for so long. Ooh, excuse me. Stick to your studies. You know, whatever you say, whatever you put in your work, make sure you can prove that it's true. Just do a good job and stick to the work and try not to get wrapped up in any of this stuff. And good luck to you. Baxter Maxter says, I am handsome but autistic in the New York City. What should my dating strategy be? Just go be handsome in front of girls. Girls giggle a lot and I do not want to disappoint them. Don't worry about disappointing them. You're in New York City. There's a fresh one every 10 feet. Just get experience and um, learn how to forget about your mistakes. And when you do something wrong, do it right the next time. If you use your autism powers to go out in New York City and just try to talk to girls in different ways until it begins working, you'll be an expert in no time. You know, pay attention to my stuff, go use the bird test, um, use the subway, you know, don't talk to girls when they're trapped rule. Just watch my stuff, go apply it, and figure out who you are and figure out how to talk to them. Your dating strategy should be go out and meet girls in real life. That's the bit. Like you're in New York City. Go out and do things that you think are cool and talk to the girls that are there. April Sunshine loves my content. Thank you. Thank you so much for your bravery and wit. Bravery? I don't accept that. Wit I'll take, but bravery? I'm don't I don't I hide my face behind a computer. I truly believe the world needs you. Thank you. I believe the world needs me too. Thanks. Davy. How do you become more masculine, raise bad boy traits without overcompensating or following negative archetypes? Be strong. Go chop wood. Go do something powerful that makes people respect you. You don't have to be bad. You don't have to be a jerk. You can just say, "I'm going to tell you where we're eating tonight." You can say that to your girlfriend. If you get a girl, you just go, "Here's where we're going." And you make a decision and then you make it happen. That's what being masculine is. Make things happen. Say what's going to happen and make it happen. It doesn't, you don't have to push people around or hurt their feelings to do that. Just be decisive. That's really what most of them want. It's really all most of them want. They just want a guy to go, here's what you're doing for the rest of your life. And they go, I just wanted someone to tell me. You don't have to be too competitive either, Davey. Mike Johnstone, specifically when you discuss levels of thinking, you refer to the understanding of how different cultures fit together or not. Oh, right. The not part is where an example would be beneficial. So the example that I always use is you cannot have the like a fundamentalist mosque, right? Just make a vaguely Eastern building here. You cannot have the fundamentalist mosque next to the gay bar. You can't have them next door to each other because they're just not like they're not going to shake hands and get along and go, "Oh, do you really hate what we do and want to eradicate it from the earth? Well, let's be neighbors." There are ideas that are not compatible with each other. And so what they have to do is occupy different territories. You can have fundamentalism over here, and then you can have the gay bar over here. But as soon as you say, well, you have to occupy some of the same space, then there's just going to be problems here. And there's a lot of just really, really stupid people who keep saying over and over again, if you mash everyone all together in one spot, then everyone just comes out happy suddenly. And it doesn't work. There's types of people and groups of people and ideologies that are not compatible. And forcing them together is just causing problems. Um, you know, this is the example I always use. Norma Joe says, love the content. You're welcome. Can you please give ladies advice about when, what conditions she should wait to sleep with dude she's interested in? Make him prove, not just say, make him prove that he's going to stick around afterwards. Many feel like if they don't do it early-ish, dude will bounce. Let him bounce. Tell the guy that you need him to prove that he likes you, and you don't want to get hurt again. Say that. Say it specifically. Just say, I don't want to get hurt anymore. Men will sleep with you and then leave, and that hurts. And I don't want to get hurt. So if you care about me, you will wait until I'm ready. If you actually want to be with me. And if he leaves, then that's not the right guy. And if he stays, then you have to make him do something to prove, not just say, but prove that he's actually going to stick around. Um, it could be like a money commitment. This is why some girls want expensive wedding rings because it proves that he put all that money into you. Because why would a guy buy you a $30,000 ring if he was going to dump you next week? That's a commitment. That's why they make them do that. It could be meeting his family or him meeting yours, something that there would be social punishments if he hurt you later. Um, there's got to be some kind of a commitment. This is why we used to wait till marriage because then it was like, well, you married her. Can't just dump her now because now everyone's going to know how horrible you are and you're going to ruin your own life. You got to make him prove it as much as possible, not just say it, prove it. Jeff Posey. I noticed that most church members are women. Really? While most church leaders are men. It's a longer question than I can answer here as to why most religious leaders are men. Um, I believe that that ancient religions have chosen not to put women in charge for really specific reasons relating to the mind and how the mind relates to the spirit and what happens when you have female leadership. Um, I'm not sure what you mean when you say most church members are women. I don't know what churches you're going to. Um, and I don't really have an answer to your question either. Why would church have more women in it? The last time I went to church, there was a lot of men. There were a few young couples with kids. Most of them were old. It was very depressing. There was only a few young people. They were pretty nice though. Sorry, I don't have a better answer for that. I did not know that 80% of churches women. Hyperion says, seeing a great girl with great values, but she's in an abusive relationship, she's leaving. Oh, you're seeing, okay, you're dating a girl, but she's in an abusive relationship and she's leaving it. Okay. We're both young. She's a green flag except for her. STB, I don't know what that is. X. Should I continue to pursue? Um, you got to get her out of that relationship. Why is she still sticking around? Do you know one of the reasons why women stay in abusive relationships is because they like that passion and that fire and it's very exciting to them? That's why they make excuses and they go, "But he loves me." And they go, but so you without knowing more about your situation, I can't say for sure, but you might be in a situation right now where you are trying to good guy your way into taking the girl away from the bad boy, and she's not going to feel that fire and passion for you, and she's still going to be connected to him. That's a chance of that. I can't tell, I don't have enough information, but if she doesn't get out of that relationship and not look back, don't keep doing it. Anthony Clink, if you want to be hot for a woman, put on all your clothes, get a briefcase, look like you're going to work. Depends what your job is, but yeah, I get it. Can you sketch your desk filming mount setup, please? Oh God. Thoughts on the dentist system? I mean, it would work in a lot of cases, but it's not very nice. That whole thing about making women feel like you're valuable and then, abandoning them. That attachment, yeah, that's like pulling the hook. So Landmine says, "Can you sketch your desk?" Okay, so my desk is like I have a computer monitor here and then a space for a second monitor, but I don't have the monitor yet. That attaches here. I have over here, I have a light, one light shining. Over here, I have the other light shining. This is my pad. There is a clamp right here with an arm that has the webcam on it, and it swivels, and the webcam points down. Um, I've got another clamp over here, another arm that has like one of these types of arms, and then it's got the cell phone holder. So then that, like, I can just kind of put that over here or wherever, and I film with my phone. Uh, and then I keep all my papers over here. I don't know why you wanted to know that, but like all my everything, my lights and everything are on. It's all movable, so I can get the lighting right. Your math is mathing, says Guillermo. Thank you. Thanks, Gil. Martin Durkin says, but many of these women are making some guys wait while they are still smashing their rotation of Chads and Tyrons. Yeah, if she's doing that, bail out. One thing that you cannot do is you cannot be seeing someone and thinking like, but what's going on behind the scenes? Like it's your responsibility to know as much as you can about what she's doing. And if it seems like she's, going to fishy places and doing fishy things and seeing fishy people, then it's up to you to say, well, if she's making me wait but still having her fun elsewhere, then get the hell out. That's not a tenable situation. That's not something anyone should ever do. Daniel Della Penta says, "What comes to mind when you hear the quote, 'The persona is incapable of receiving love; it can only receive praise'?" What comes to mind? I don't know, man. The persona is incapable of receiving love; it can only receive praise. Well, the persona is that word means mask. So a fake thing that you invented to show people is not something that can receive love. It's just an image of yourself. It's the thing behind the mask that receives the love, which is, you know, the mystery. It's where God resides. But, we're just getting into semantics at that point. It's you get into what is the self? Are we different from our personas? Is the persona an extension of the self? Is it inauthentic? Is it fake? Is authenticity always better? I mean, not when you're playing poker. You've got to know when it's time to be authentic. It's like not always at work, but in love, yeah. I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to date anyone I couldn't be authentic with. That would be miserable. But and not in every part of life. No, there are some people that I'm not authentic with. There's some people that I know if I give them authenticity, they're not going to give me anything good back. So I just give them calculated answers to get what I want. Chic Daddy, other than looks, what is most important to having women look at you as an ideal short-term partner? Looks, height, muscles. Those are the first things that women look for. And after that, then it's like bad boy stuff, like motorcycles and, criminal stuff. So I think height is probably more important than your face, and then your face, and then your physical shape. And then after that, it's your behavior, being a badass. Could you describe the difference between the value of restraint versus indulgence in terms of masculinity? Yeah, I mean, indulgence is kind of feminine. If you can't really control yourself and you give in to your desires, it means that you're kind of, manipulated by them. Having the ability to hold yourself back is something that women, I think, respect. Um, but then again, when a woman wants to be indulged in, then she'll be pretty forgiving of that. It really depends on the conditions of the relationship. The Can you describe the difference between the value of restraint versus indulgence in terms of masculinity? The masculine thing to do is to restrain yourself and indulge yourself at the right time. That's the right thing to do, is for you to know when it is time to give in and have fun, and when it is time to put a border between you and the indulgent parts of life. Being in control of yourself, doing it at the right time. Hermit Stew says, off topic, but on the monkey see, monkey do line of thought, would you consider social media platforms like Twitch as a mistake in that it can elevate anybody in the inevitable immunity? Yeah, yeah. I really don't like the idea that popularity has a lot to do with what ideas get proliferated. Because just because an idea is popular doesn't mean it's good. A lot of bad ideas are popular. And yes, I do think that there are a lot of internet celebrities who just say things that people want to hear, and they're all very impressed with it. And they really shouldn't be speaking at all. I think that we need more control over what the public is exposed to, because they just absorb it like a sponge, and then they go do it. I remember a good few years ago, maybe 15, 17 years ago, something like that. There was this guy who he was, I can't remember his name, but he was this gay guy who was talking about relationships, and he was telling straight men that if your girlfriend cheats on you just a few times, that means that she's really good at not cheating, not really bad. He was like, you should expect them to cheat. You should expect that. And then if they only cheat a little, then you should be really happy. And I, I don't think this guy had any credentials or anything. I think he was just popular. And I remember that one piece of advice in particular made me think, like, why the hell is anybody listening to this? He doesn't have any experience. He doesn't have any expertise. He's just saying things that make people go, "Oh, so cheating is actually good. I'm very smart because I have an idea that's different from the idea that most people have." I don't understand why we allow things like that to get popular. Um, I think it's terrible. I think we live in a really bad time where there's too much information and people are not smart enough to tell good from bad. Hazelnut says, "Could you give me advice? I'm so insecure about my sexual pass about." I don't know what that is. "I'm not looking for anyone right now because I want to stand on my feet a little more, but I want to be ready. I'm afraid no one is going to take me seriously." I wish I knew what you wanted advice about. "I'm not looking for anyone right now because I want to stand on my feet a little more." Well, it sounds like you need some time for yourself. That's all I can really say based on what you said there. Anthony Klink. You remind me a lot of the lock-picking lawyer as far as presentation. Oh, yeah, I know him. What the just here, let me just dismantle these hoes real quick. Yeah, thank you. Um, why does love turn to hate? What is the mistake category for a woman? So, the mistake category is usually one of two things. It's usually a guy who either she thought that he was going to be like a really enjoyable bad boy, and it turned out like, oh, he's not that, like, he wasn't that manly or attractive. Oops. Or she thought that he was going to commit and he was going to be a good husband zone, and he ended up being kind of a jerk. And she went, oh, I just can't believe that I thought he was going to be something good. As far as why does love turn to hate, people get sick of each other after time. It doesn't matter who you are. Everyone gets sick of if your partner they call it the 7-year itch. Excuse me. Um, when you meet someone and you start a new relationship, the excitement starts out really high, and then it kind of falls after a little while, and then around spring or summer you have a little boost again, right? And then it falls and you have a little boost again, and then it falls, and it goes really fast. It's like year 1, 2, 3, 4, and by year 7 it's about as low as it's going to get. So your passion when you start out in a new relationship, it's all like, oh, amazing new person, so exciting. And then 4 years later you're at like 15%, and it kind of stays at 5 to 15 for the rest of your life. This can make people pretty unhappy. I wanted to feel this forever. I wanted to feel amazing, powerful love feelings forever. I didn't want to just have like a friend, like a someone who I know really well. And then not very much of the fiery draw the fire heart again. People blame each other for that sometimes. Also, when you get to know someone, you get to know all the bad things about them, and they build up and build up. STB equals soon to be. Oh, okay, yeah. She's told me that the feelings will. She lost feelings and will break it off. I'll leave if she doesn't. Okay, we hate clubbing, polyamory. She's a country horse girl. That's cool. Sounds good. Um, Cole Lecky again. Advice on how to stop social chameleon behavior. I'm good at it, but I know it's damaging to my internal self. I dissociate from most social situations and just play characters instead of me. Well, why is that wrong? If you're just trying to blend into social situations, you can't be not yourself. Everything that you're being is a part of you. Um, what is the what's the reason that you think you need to be authentic all the time when you're being social? It's okay to be the part of yourself that you think people are going to like the most. I don't think it's necessarily damaging to your internal self unless you're afraid to tell people what you really think or feel. Um, you have to be like brave enough to risk people not liking you when you say something authentic. It doesn't matter. There's an infinite number of people. If looks are the only meaningful way, whoa, if looks are the only meaningful way women can improve their odds with men, why recommend against plastic surgery? Because it's bad for you. Plastic surgery, first of all, it's dishonest because you're trying to say, I look like this, but you really don't, and your kids won't. Second of all, you're cutting yourself up um, in order to get somebody who wouldn't like the real you. Uh, I don't understand why people have such a hard time just accepting the partner that likes them. If you're this attractive and this is the person who likes you, why don't you just be happy with it? You're going to cut pieces of yourself off and staple new pieces on and get big plastic bags shoved into your body to get a guy who's like 1 point higher. Why don't you just love the 7 instead of like fighting for an 8? I don't get why people don't do that. Um, for me, the value of the money that you spend on the plastic surgery and the, cutting yourself up and adding fake things into your body, And I mean, I don't know if there's health issues or whatever. And the inauthenticity, let's put a mask. The idea of you saying, "Oh yeah, this is totally what I look like." To me, all that stuff is not worth getting a slightly more attractive partner. It's crazy to me. Uh, Jeff Posey, is it fair to say the bad boy axis correlates with alpha male protector and nice guy axis corresponds to beta male provider? In the colloquial, sure. The alpha beta thing has never really landed for me. That's those terms are not all that useful. But what you're saying is basically true. Like if you're maxed out on bad boy stuff, then that's what people would call an alpha. And if you're maxed out on good guy stuff, that's what people would call a beta because it's like following her around and going, "Oh, I'm gonna be nice to you and take care of you." Yeah, that's like beta stuff. I just don't like those words. Dex's Sports says, "Is religion a problem? It requires faith, not scientific evidence or proof. The manosphere uses factual statistics based on scientific evidence, not faith." No, no. So there are lots of different ways to experience knowledge. And the way that some people think of it is that you have like facts and not facts. And these are just like two categories of knowledge. And it's like, "Oh, I saw something on CNN and so those are facts." And it's like, "Check, this is the good knowledge." And then this was from the Bible and those are not facts. So that's bad knowledge. That's not the way that it works. Faith and religion are just entirely different categories of knowledge and understanding, um, compared to science. Science is a method of observation, and it actually is very limited in scope. People think that science is where we get all of our knowledge from. It's where we get it. It's a very, very, very teeny tiny percentage of our knowledge comes from science. And it's like, well, under these conditions, if you introduce this action, then this happens, 40% of the time. And what does that mean? Well, here's what some scientists guess based on nothing. A lot of science is like that, and people treat science like it's the only source of truth. There are a lot of things that we know are true without performing science on them, and some of those things come from self-inquiry and the passing down of wisdom. So, the Bible, for example, contains a lot of wisdom. And if you read it and listen to it, you will know that some of the things in there are true. And you're going to go, "Oh, yeah, I never thought of it that way." And you're looking into yourself as you read it and understanding that you're having the same experiences that somebody uh, just like you had thousands of years ago. And you're going, "Well, it's like this has been going on for so long. Now I understand this is a pattern and this is the way that people are." It's not science, but it still is a way of knowing. Let's see. Daniel De La Penta, what about a guy that surgically adds height? Same thing. I don't like that. Breaking your legs and making them longer. Same thing as plastic surgery. Jacob, I recommended an IQ requirement to be president. In one of my college classes, everyone lost their shit. Yeah, of course. I mean, you're right. You're right, and that's a smart thing. There should be an IQ requirement. Those people all lost their minds though because they think that stupid people should be president. Like, did you bring that up to them? Did you say, "Why do you want a dumb person to do an important job?" Those people are insane, Jacob. I don't know what to tell you about them. Get away from them. Don't engage with them. They're not. They're not all there. Adrian King. No question. Just love your work. Thank you. Suits says, "What is the gayest thing you've done?" I think probably reading that question. Cruzetto Stone. Hey man, love your content. Any thoughts on dating with ADHD? Uh, Not really. I don't think I understand how ADHD works. How would that work in a dating environment? Like, what do you just like forget you had a date? Specifically, those of us who are unable to show feelings on the outside. Well, that would make things difficult. Why would you be unable to show feelings on the outside? Um, I think the only thing I can really say to you is to be communicative, and just say on your Tinder profile or whatever you're using, just go, I have the ADHD, and here's what that's like. I've had a lot of relationships stop before they start because they asked me if I was ever diagnosed with depression, and I was like, yeah, I mean, that doesn't really exist. I've had a hard time in life, but I mean, I don't know. Like you have to say who you are and what's going on with you in order to be fair. Martin Durkin. I've watched your content from the beginning. Thank you. One factor in attraction I haven't seen you address is size, like the size matters size. Well, that's body. That's just body covers everything. I don't particularly want to talk about genitals openly all that much, but for sure that matters to women. Like that, it has to be enough and it can't be too much. But most guys are going to be within like a reasonable range of what's acceptable. Um, I believe that it's roughly the same as height. I don't have good data on this. Like I've only read a couple things, and I don't know if I trust the studies. But if the average guy is right here, I think that what women prefer is in the top 15%. Just like that's how many men are 6 feet tall, and that's how many men are. I think might be 8. I'm not really sure. I don't know a whole lot of data on this, but if this is what women prefer the most, then something in this range is gonna be like okay. It's not gonna be like It's good. It's like fine. This is the territory. He's got other qualities, and then from here lower, it's like well, hope you're funny. Um, so most of us don't have to worry. I don't. I'm not sure if I really want to get into that more than that because it's one of those things that not only are the discussions never productive, but I don't know how they're gathering data. I don't know if I trust that branch of science. You know what I mean? Alefa afalava. Does mate choice copying only apply to women? Yeah. Yep. So when a man is surrounded by women, the other women think, well, he must be awesome. He's got all those women around him, so now I want him. When a woman is surrounded by men, we go, "Oh, she must be dirty." Like she's got all these dudes around her all the time. Is she sleeping with all of them? Is she taking money from all of them? Do I want to throw myself into that pit? We don't think like, "Oh, there must be something amazing about her," because we can see what's amazing about her. We are way more looks driven than you are for long-term relationships. So we can see almost everything that we like about her. And then there's all these dudes around her and it's like, "Ugh, no thanks. I'm going to go find someone who's not surrounded by dudes." But when a guy is surrounded by women, women will go, I need to get all that value for myself." For us, the value is when you're not around men. That's where the value comes from. So it's quite the opposite. Yeah, mate choice copying doesn't apply. Um, let's see. I'm a monarchist, seen it spread rapidly. You like What do you mean seen it spread rapidly? In the last few years? I don't think you have seen it spread rapidly. I think you've seen maybe like passive intellectual support for it spread rapidly. But there are no new kings, you know what I mean? Bridger, advice on avoiding self sabotage, procrastination. Uh, God, I'm not sure. Where did it go? Advice on avoiding self sabotage or procrastination. That's a pretty big question. Um, the way that I do it is I just remember how much it sucks to be old and how I want to get all of my important stuff done before I'm old, which it's too late now. Like COVID ruined the very last chance I had at life. Um, but I used to just think of it like there's not a whole lot of time for me to be young and fit and attractive and smart and out in the world. Yeah, I gotta do it now or I'm gonna miss my chance. Like that was a really big motivating thing for me to just remember I'm going to miss my chance if I don't do this. That made me put a lot of work in. Daniel De La Penta, sciences are slowly proving spirituality true. Yeah, in some ways, yeah. It's a long conversation, but for sure, some of it is showing up. Hazelnut, does my body count mean I'll always be a sleeper? No, not necessarily. It really depends. It really depends how you change, and it depends what kind of a person you are. And like, I've known some women with high body counts who were just badly damaged. And it's like, how am I ever going to have a relationship with you? But they're not all like that. I'm scared if this guy considers me a sleeper, the next guy will as well. It's possible. It's really all about you and the way that you act. So some of the women that I have been associated with who had high body counts, they were really just full of baggage, and they would constantly get jealous and upset and accuse me of things, and it was always just always like fight, 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 fight about who's cheating and who I'm talking to and who's on my phone and everything like that. Make sure that you don't have that kind of damage. Make sure that you're not bringing, any kind of unpleasantness that might have happened from having high body count into your relationships, and be stable and be loyal. And like, some guys are not going to send you away just because you've been with a lot of guys. Not everyone's going to do that. It's so much more about your behavior than it is about the number. The number is just like a warning about what your behavior is likely to be. So prove that it's not. That's the most important thing. None your business says, so if a woman who's previously affectionate towards you says F you, I hate you, is it genuine? Not enough information. Maybe. It depends what you did. Lego Club 22. What are the implications of women remarking that one smells so male as if it's an annoyance? I'd have to like see her face or something. It sounds like a compliment to me. Like if there was a girl in my apartment right now and she said, "You smell so male," I would be like, "It's nice to meet you too." I would just take it as a compliment and run with it. I don't know what else to say about that one. Reading my comment was less gay than you talking about men's size. Okay. The rabbit hole. The female mind. What did God mean by this? Oh, that's funny. God's a joker. God is like this is. I have to imagine that like that. This is God. It's like this joker with the forever smile and the uneven teeth. I'll make them love the one thing that hurts them the most. No, no. Um, it's a grand joke. Uh, It's not really just the female human mind, though, that's like this. It's really all biological life that's designed this way. Without conflict, there can't be growth to strength. And so, women being like this is like how men are tested. And if you can become strong enough to satisfy women, then they just go, I should definitely reproduce with him. It's like the physical reality is a test, man, and women are the manifestation of that test for us. Paul Webmaster, how do you date a woman within a friend group and not ruin your position in the friend group? Oh, you don't. Just know that you're messing with the whole chemistry. If you're in a friend group and everyone knows a girl in the group, and then you just say, "Oh, I'm going to make a romantic connection now," everyone's connected to that romantic connection. So what you do with that will affect the whole thing. There's no backing out after that. There's no like, "Oh, well, let's go back to normal." Like, go watch old episodes of Friends or whatever. That's accurate. Create an IQ test for politicians, and people would be creating their own tests to get the IQ results and legislate that those tests be used. I think you're just talking about corruption, and yeah, I agree. It would get corrupt right away. Anthony Klink, ad trick is paying attention. It is, God, this is so jumpy. I'm trying to read these things and they're moving them out of the way. Ad trick is paying attention. It is difficult. You want to jump around. If you care enough to try to listen, she will respond. She already knows you're incoherent. You must try to pay attention. I'm not sure what you're talking about. You must be commenting on a previous comment. Rice Patty Reasons, stopping by to support. Let the voices of reason flourish. Thank you. RR. Frank the Tank. If Homath doesn't know the data on eggplant size, he probably never needed to know the data. Oh yeah, I haven't had a problem with that. I'm not like I'm lucky in many ways. I'm not like you know, like anything to brag about or whatever, but I've never had a problem. Like I'm doing fine. Thank you for bringing that up, Frank. Big fan of your work, bro. Thank you, Brandon. It's wow. That was $100, Brandon Carter. I appreciate you for that. 99, 99. I like all the nines too. Just that one penny off, making it all the repeating nines. End CGM. Circumcision is genital mutilation. Yeah, I agree. I really don't think we should be doing that. I personally spent some time thinking about it, and I imagined what life would be like if that hadn't been done to me. And I'm kind of like, oh, I missed out on a lot of things I was supposed to feel. That doesn't make all that much sense to me. Um, yeah, I don't think we should be doing that. You're cutting a chunk off of your baby. Don't do that. It came out the way it was supposed to. Cloud Estate. I'm a 41-year-old guy. I've been dating a 27-year-old girl. ADHD, autism. Is that you or her? Or is both? Since October. Zones make sense, but a neurodivergent girl seems to be operating on a different axis. Any advice? It's not a different axis. She values different things on the axes. So you're saying that she has ADHD and autism, I guess? You're 41, you're dating a 27-year-old, and she seems to be operating on different axes. Actually, what's happening is on the bad boy axis, because she is neurodivergent, she values intelligence and humor and authenticity a lot more than most girls. So those things to her are like really big deals on the bad boy axis, much more than like money or muscles or being tall or anything like that. If she's on the spectrum and she's got ADHD, she's probably looking for a guy who can be on her level and vibe with her, and that makes her go, "Oh, you get it. You're so cool." That's The bad boy axis is the "you're so cool" axis, and then the good guy axis is the "you're so nice" axis. So, this is just whatever makes her think you're cool. And neurodivergent girls tend to think different things are cool. They don't care so much about money and muscles. Do you believe in no-fap? No. I've tried it 3 times. I didn't see any effects. It was kinda weird. Do you have any thoughts on lesbian dating? I mean, I did a video on it that got demonetized. Guys and girls both say I'm a catch, but I'm still single despite going after all the girls I like. I guess you would be a girl then? I don't know. I can't tell you much about it. I know that I have known a bunch of lesbians and they complain about women. And I know that I've known a bunch of bisexual women and they say you have to kind of choose eventually. Can't just be bisexual forever. Eventually you got to pick one. I don't know. I'm not a lesbian. I have very little experience. Brandon McAlpin. I'm 5'7" barefoot. Okay. Not really blessed either. Never had issues. My ex-fiance is 6 foot. Just own it. Don't make it a problem. It won't be a problem. You got lucky. It's not a normal experience that you had. But it can happen. Of course it can happen. It's just not common just because it happened for you, you know? Raymond Pontemayor. I turned 26 this year, single, first time living in the US. How can I deal with having high expectations for myself and finding a partner? I don't know what you mean. How can you deal with having high expectations? Like, are you asking me how do you deal with your own expectations? Um, just decide what they are, decide what your expectations are, and then see if you can get them? I guess I'm just having a hard time parsing the question. How can I deal with having high expectations for myself and finding a partner? Yeah, I'm having a hard time with that one. How can I deal with it? Um, just know what you're looking for, I guess, man. Just know what you're looking for and where to find it. And if you don't find it, then adjust. Jeff Posey. If she thinks I'm high on bad boy score, then she's higher on my keeper score. Yes, that works for me too. I want someone who thinks I'm a stud. Yep. Her opinion of me feeds back into my opinion of her. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would put it that way, but her opinion of me feeds into my opinion of the relationship for sure. If there's someone who's lukewarm on me, um, like if I'm talking to a girl who knows me through home math and I show her what I look like and she goes, "Oh, okay," then I'm at that point I'm like, are we really doing this? She has to be crazy about it. Cole Lecky asked thoughts on homosexuality. This is a question that I've fielded many times. I just don't really have anything to say about it. I don't have any expertise or know anything. I'm not going to be, um, changing that. I'm not going to go spending my time on it. He said, "Draw a mushroom man." Here's a here's a mushroom man with the Super Mario eyes, and I'm gonna make him unhappy. Little dots, like pepperoni. These are weird mushrooms. How would you recommend someone go about a career change late in life, dude? I don't know where you got the idea that I gave career advice. Um, I've had 2 jobs. Like, I've had 2 real jobs that you need a college degree for in my life, and they both sucked. Um, I don't know. Career change, I don't know, carefully. The rabbit hole. You're an American drawler. Have you ever considered painting? Nah, I'm not gonna get into that much art. Like, I already play guitar. I don't need to add more fine arts. I make videos, I play guitar. I've got plenty of interests. I don't need to be like a painter and a sculptor and a and. Any update on self-maximize? I haven't worked on it in like 2 weeks. I bit off more than I could chew. And it's the next big video that's gonna come out. It's the next one longer than 10 minutes that's coming out. I'm gonna do it before levels, I'm gonna do it before anything else. It's the script is mostly written, and I've just gotta start shooting and make sure that I am not leaving anything out. I've just gotta start. I probably will start shooting tomorrow. Abdul Aziz, can you talk about the creepy zone, how a normal guy could unintentionally get stuck there and how to escape? Yeah, if you're creeping someone out, it's because she is not attracted to you, but she thinks you're pursuing her. So that gives her the feeling that that you might be like you might get angry, you might do something stupid. So if you want to get out of the creepy zone, there are two things you can do. You can either become attractive or you can go away. Almost every time you should go away. So if a girl is creeped out by you, and then you go, "Oh, wait, no, I'm not creepy." That's gonna add more of these. "No, I swear I'm really nice." Um, yeah, if someone feels creeped out by you, it's a sign to just go find someone who's not. Can you add your cheese hierarchy to the Discord? Ah, damn it, I knew I should have kept that. I forgot what it was. I know that it had like Oaxaca on the top. I'm gonna order some Oaxaca cheese for Valentine's Day. Just eat it on crackers. No, I threw that out. I don't keep these pages. They're just cheap. Astro Perp. Thank you. Okay. Man, that was a while. What is it? It's 11:24. Okay, I've been on for 90 minutes. That was a while. Brandon Carter's $100 donation is still here. He's a big fan of my work. Thank you. All right. Let's see. Let's see what the normal non-paying people have to ask of me. I know where this man lives from his time zone. It's a pretty big time zone. Why would woodchucks whittle wood when whacking water would wield wetness? Because they're bored and because they have teeth. They're built for it. How to go about learning to navigate and improve attraction towards women? How does one learn to be more masculine? I don't know how to increase my bad boy factor without feeling cringe when I try. Well, you have to do things that, like, you have to go chop wood. You have to do manly things. Hit a punching bag, chop wood, go camping, go shoot a deer with a bow, do manly things, get good at dancing, be funny, be confident. You can't just you can't just walk outside one day and go, I am more of a man today. It's going to be fake. It has to be based on something. Like, I can do a lot of stuff. I'm good at a lot of stuff. So when I act like I'm really cool and everyone likes me, and women go, "Ooh, you're very confident." I go, "Yes," and I have a lot of reason to be. And then I do things, and they go, "Oh, I see why you're very confident." And I go, "Yeah." You got to have things you're good at to base the confidence on. What are your things? What is it that you're doing? In order to be more masculine, you have to be able to do things that are impressive and important that make women feel amazed that you exist. What are your things? Work on them. Hopefully you're not playing video games all the time because you're not going to build them that way. Would you rather be a 7 in 2019 or a 10 in 2024? Oh, I would rather be a 10 in 2024 for sure. Because then you just get everything you want. Women love watching you lift really heavy things in public. Yes, they do. Carry beer kegs. I have not read David Goggins, but he seems to be pretty um, worth listening to. Like, he seems pretty, what do you call it? Committed, dedicated. Suits says I was in an exclusive friends with benefits situation, but got with other girls behind her back. Did I cheat? Yeah, if you promised that you wouldn't, but then you did, then yeah, yes, that's cheating. If you have to lie about sex, then you shouldn't be having it. If you have to be ashamed about it and doing it in secret, you probably just shouldn't be. If you have to hide it from anyone. Does being good at Dance Dance Revolution count as manly? No, because you're bouncing around to, squeaky Japanese cartoons. Being good at like jazz or salsa or what do they call it? Blues dancing. Being good at that kind of stuff can be pretty manly. Tango. Any plans to help us suckers who married the wrong woman like a dumbass and want to get some ways to figure out how to manage our stupid ass situations? I'm gonna be much less focusing on managing long-term relationships. I'm much more focusing on what people can do who are struggling to get relationships or struggling to keep them going in the beginning. I am probably not going to spend a whole lot of time on like, well, here's what you do in year 10 because I don't get to year 10. I've had a bunch of like year 1 and year 2 relationships. Um I don't want to really start talking about this. I would recommend John Gottman for that. There are other people who specialize in that more. I am more about describing the interior experience of dating and becoming dateable and figuring out what you're doing in the early parts of relationships. Cole Lecky again. Hi. Do you think that the oh god, this thing is just jumping around so much. Do I think that what? Do you think that the degradation of the public education system and the decay of general technical social skill can be reversed? Not the way that I think you're asking. Is democracy innately flawed? Yeah. Is it innately flawed when the population of a system grows? No. Democracy is just innately flawed. It is a stupid thing to do. It is always a terrible, terrible idea to just go, let's ask everybody what their opinion is and then just do what the average person thinks. Can you imagine putting the average person in charge of anything? It's dumb. It's democracy is a dumb idea, but that's okay because we don't live in one. Um, so the degradation of public education system and the decay of skills, technical and social skills, you're saying, can it be reversed? If you put me in charge and I could design the public education system, I would fix it in one generation. But they don't want to fix it. That is something a lot of people won't admit and don't want to pay attention to. They don't want to fix the problem. They want people to be useless and dependent on the government. So, can you fix that? I would personally be able to fix the education system if you put me in charge of it. I would know exactly what to do. I would know how to structure class composition and syllabi for classes and what to offer and when. I would know exactly what to do to put kids on the fast track to becoming the best versions of themselves. I would 100% know how to do that. And no one will ever let me do that because the point of public school is to keep you struggling. They don't want you to be effective. They don't want that. Oh, okay. I've got more of these. Brandon McAlpin. I was fresh out of jail and broke when I met her. You must have spoken earlier. She swears I'm a pathological narcissist. Bad boy traits. Couldn't provide, gotta do both. You must be talking about a different comment. I can't remember. Fresh out of jail and broke when I met her. Yeah, you sound like a catch. And she says you're a narcissist. They all call everyone narcissists these days. Schmitty, would you do anything unique compared to other decent parents in the current culture? Monitor internet, extra home discussion. Are you asking me what I would do if I was a parent? Um, I would, if I was a parent, if I was having kids, I would keep them completely separate from society. I would not want them hanging out with um, the children of other parents who are just letting them watch Cardi B or whatever. I don't even know who Cardi B is, but I know that there's just a bunch of ass shaking songs about doing heroin and people let their kids watch that. And then you're going to let your kids hang out with these kids? Like everyone's a bad influence right now. It's terrifying. I have an aunt who said that she doesn't want to become a grandmother anymore because the world is so bad. She wouldn't even want to watch her grandchildren grow up in it. You got to keep them away from society. Okay, my throat's getting a little sore. I got to go soon. Tito Sivinsky. Appreciate your videos. Help me turn my life around. Thank you. Love to see more 10-minute plus content. Once I get self maximize out, there'll be more 10 plus minute things. I've worked so much on that. Getting it done is gonna get a load off my back. Patrick Neon Lover. That's cool. I would love clarification on the levels with your example on firefighters working in EMS. Curious how they are lower levels. Scenes have higher levels of thought and using clinical judgment. Scenes? I don't get what you're saying. I would love clarification on the levels with your example of firefighters working in EMS. Curious how they are lower level. Scenes have higher level of thought and using clinical judgment. Well, it sounds like what you're saying is that you think firefighters would have a higher level of thought because they have to react to difficult situations. But it's actually not beneficial to do that because the higher levels are slower. So if you are um, down at level 3, for example, and you're a firefighter or a police officer, those people are going to be immediately reactive. They see a fire, I know what to do. It's time to go, right? See a criminal, I know what to do because those people don't question themselves. They're not very reflective. But if you get up at like level 6 in particular and you see something happening, this is someone who's going to say, well, what are all the perspectives that could possibly be true about this situation? Is this a fire that is supposed to be there? Am I supposed to be hit? Am I the one to do this? Should we be taking this car or that car? Is this worth the money of the public? Is it worth the tax money that we're going to spend on gas for the fire truck? Is this the higher that you go, the more you consider alternatives to your immediate thoughts. So people who are at the lower levels, they see something and react to it, and it's very knee jerk, which makes them actually sometimes better at things like that. So this idea that a higher level is the same thing as being able to make decisions in the moment is not true. This is the higher levels of thought are slower thought, and the lower levels are faster thought. So if you're trained properly, then thinking at a lower level is what you want to do as a emergency worker. You don't want to be like sitting around like with a therapy client going, and how do you feel about the fire? You just go, oh, fire, put the fire out. That's low level thought. Oh god, there's too many questions. I gotta go soon. Frank the Tank, late bloomer on social dating skills. I'm better than I was a few years ago, but still struggle. Quick to-do list on things I need to get good at. I mean, zones, man. Like that's what I made the list for. Um, quick to-do list on things I need to get good at. Yeah, read zones 3. Be able to have a conversation. Make sure you look good. Make sure your breath is good. Make sure that you have things going on in your life and that you're entertaining and funny. It's not the dating scene isn't. Like, women are not all looking for jugglers all of a sudden. It's all the same stuff that you always needed to be. It's just that now everyone has six situationships. Chic Daddy says thoughts on how to deal with addictions, marijuana, nicotine, YouTube. In my case, I've never had that much difficulty with addictions. I just when I want to stop doing something, I just stop doing it. Um, get yourself physically out of the situation if you can. Like, go camping and don't bring any of your addictions with you and just wait for it to pass. Force yourself to get out of it somehow. Have someone force you. Lock yourself away in a place. Rehab doesn't address the issues directly. I've heard that. Um, I gotta go soon. My throat hurts. I'm an education lobbyist, and the good news is that industry's starting to pay attention and address the problems as highlighted by hate. Good. You have a very strange serial killer way of describing things. Thanks, Gil. Do you have a very large fridge with the scalped heads of blondes? No, I like blondes alive. All kidding aside, I think you have funny and informative stuff. Okay, thank you. No, I don't want women to be dead because then they don't do all the good stuff. UNR network. Thanks for everything you're doing. You're welcome. It helps to know we're not crazy. Yeah, I mean it's crazy. It's crazy. Make you think you're crazy. Salgod Denham. It seems effort one puts into success looks like an S curve. Lots of hard work for little reward until suddenly lots of reward. True? Yeah. So yeah, that's vaguely true. Like with relevance to work and working out and everything, it's like the amount of I guess this would be work that you would put in. You work and you work and you work and you work, and then suddenly you start getting results. And then once you are getting your results, it kind of stays at a certain level. This is definitely how it worked for me with building muscle and working out. Like when I was over here and I was losing weight, I just wasn't getting anything. And then it was kind of one day, it was all of a sudden like everyone just noticed me. And then I stayed there for quite a while until I got fat again. It works that way with money too, like with home math. Um, when I started in the beginning, yeah, I got a bunch of attention, and then it wasn't until like November, December that all of a sudden a lot of things changed. Let's see, Patrick. I'm speaking on. Okay, I'm definitely my throat is hurting, and I'm gonna go. So no more paid questions, please. I don't want to. I don't want to just abandon your question after you paid for it. I'm speaking on medical scenarios more in the range of firefighter, paramedic. We have to decide quick clinical judgments with regard to our own decisions, and which can last over an hour on emergency scene. Right. It's the same. I mean, it's the same thing that I already described. It's like higher level is not smart and lower level is not stupid. It's not like when someone is at a lower level, it doesn't mean that you can't learn what to do in an emergency situation. It doesn't mean that you can't memorize definitions. It doesn't mean that you can't train to do something properly. It just has to do with your ability to consider your own thinking and to think about your thinking and think about that thinking. And like it feels to me like you want me to say that EMS people must be really high level thinkers because they're so quick at making judgments. But you can be quick at making judgments at lower levels. It's not like it doesn't mean dumb. Um, it just means simple. Like again, if you were at a lower level like 3, it would be um, if this thing happens square, right? Then you do this. And if this thing happens triangle, then you do this. That's how lower level thinking works. But at higher level thinking, it would be like if square, then I mean, what kind of a square is it, and what day is it, and are we sure it's a square? Maybe it's like my perception of it, and how does the square feel about the higher level thinking considers more perspectives. It doesn't mean faster or smarter or more correct or like more able to, make snap decisions. It means considering more versions of reality. And if you're spending time and energy on considering all the different perspectives and interpretations about how things could be, then you're like not patching up somebody's bleeding bullet wound, you know? So the lower levels of thinking are more effective in jobs like that. And in fact, I would say even if a firefighter or an EMS or whoever or a cop was at a very high level at home, when they're doing their job, they would probably go back down to this level because they know what they're doing. And when this happens, this is what you do. So again, it's just not like higher level doesn't mean smarter or better. It just means more able to see all the different ways of thinking and to think about your own ways of thinking, which is actually a very slow process. Okay. I think that that's all the paid questions, which is good because I can't talk anymore. So I am going to go right now and get some water. I think I got everybody. I think I got everyone. If I didn't get everyone, just go yell at me in Discord. All right. Good night, everybody. Thanks for being here. TYBM for being here. For BH. Hear that? I have old man voice tonight. Hey. Okay. Good night.